There are people who live more fully in the world inside their minds than in the world beneath their feet. Because out here, life hurts. But in the quiet chambers of imagination, they can finally breathe. Some people drift through life like shadows, moving from moment to moment, with that distant look in their eyes. The kind that makes you wonder where they went, what world they stepped into, what memory or dream, or unspoken fear swallowed them whole. These are the people who feel safer in their imagination than in reality. The ones who learned long ago that the external world is unpredictable, loud, bruising, unkind, and that the only place gentle enough to hold them was the one they built on the inside. You can't tell by looking at them. They hold conversations, nod politely, show up when they need to, but part of them remains elsewhere. Tucked away in mental rooms, where the air is softer, where nothing breaks as violently, where the rules of gravity bend to their wounds instead of against them. For them, imagination isn't an escape, it's a survival instinct. A private refuge, shaped by longing memory and unhealed fractures. It's the one place they never have to flinch. The one place where love doesn't withdraw. Where people don't become unpredictable storms. Where happiness isn't a threat. Where their hearts aren't questioned, or dissected, or asked to shrink. In their inner world, everything is both more fragile and more honest. It's where they can be their truest self, unfiltered, uncorrected, unrushed by the demands of reality. And though the world might call it escapism, they know better. They know it's protection, the kind the real world never gave them. They didn't choose this way of living. It happened quietly, gradually, like a whisper that turned into a shelter. Maybe they grew up in a home where emotions were punished, where their inner life was dismissed as drama, where dreaming was mocked, where sensitivity was treated as a flaw. Maybe they lived through experiences that forced them inward loneliness, heartbreak, emotional neglect, unpredictable chaos, a sense of never quite belonging. When the outer world became too sharp, too inconsistent, too cold, they found warmth in imagination. They found control in creation. They found gentleness in possibility. And once you've known that kind of safety, returning to reality feels like stepping barefoot onto broken glass. Life doesn't often accommodate the softness these people carry. They feel everything deeply, intensely, overwhelmingly. Reality confronts them with a pace too fast, noise too loud, expectations too heavy. So they retreat into the slow, quiet rhythm of the mind. In imagination, they can pause. They can breathe between thoughts. They can exist without being consumed. They can love without losing. They can hope without the fear of disappointment. They can rebuild worlds where no one abandons them, where conversations unfold the way they wish they had, where the wounds of the past are rewritten with tenderness or erased entirely. And yet, these imagined worlds are not fantasies. They are emotional landscapes, reflections of what they needed and never received. They are built from longing, not delusion. From memory, not denial. From dreams, not avoidance. It is not that they dislike reality. It's that reality never learned how to hold them. Sometimes people misunderstand them. They see them as distant, aloof, detached. They accuse them of being too dreamy, too introspective, too lost in their head. But these accusations always come from those who have never needed imagination to survive. It's easy to call someone unrealistic when your world never taught you to hide. It's easy to criticize escapism when you've never experienced a pain that demanded one. The truth is simple and sad. People who feel safer in their imagination have often lived through realities that failed them. Realities that broke them. Realities that took their trust, their innocence, their softness, and didn't return it. So they found a world where their softness could breathe again. A world where trust wasn't a weapon. A world where heartbreak wasn't waiting around every corner. A world where they aren't too much or too sensitive, or too emotional, but simply human. These inner worlds become a home. Sometimes the only home they've ever had. There's a certain kind of loneliness in this, of course. A loneliness that doesn't come from being alone, but from feeling unseen in the spaces where you should feel safe. It's the loneliness of being surrounded by people, but stuck inside a mind that refuses to land. It's the loneliness of wanting to be part of reality, but finding it too jagged, too wild, too unpredictable. Their imagination becomes a warm cave in winter, a place to return to when the wind outside cuts too deeply. Some people assume that imagination lovers are running from responsibility, but the truth is far sadder. They are running from pain. from the memories that left scars where joy should have been, from people who used their vulnerability against them, from moments where reality proved itself too cruel, too indifferent, too unforgiving. Imagination offers the only landscape that listens, and yet, they also carry a quiet guilt, a sense that they're supposed to be more present, more engaged, more grounded. They tell themselves to wake up, to pay attention, to stop drifting, but the world outside has never felt like a place where their soul could stretch without fear. So they oscillate between the reality that bruises them and the imagination that heals them. They live in the in-between, both here and not here, both grounded and floating. The safety they feel in imagination has a price, a subtle distance from life itself. Relationships become complicated. They feel deeply, but express cautiously. They love intensely, but fear being misunderstood. They crave connection but retreat when it becomes too real. They hover between desire and dread. They want closeness but fear what it demands. Imagination is controlled. Reality is chaos, and chaos, to them, is a threat. But their inner world isn't always a sanctuary. Sometimes, it's an echo chamber. A place where their fears replay in sharper colors. A place where their unmet needs loop like unfinished sentences. A place where their hopes sit untouched, because they're too afraid to try for them in real life. They imagine joy, but hesitate to reach for it. They imagine love, but struggle to trust it. They imagine freedom, but feel trapped in the nervous system of their past. Still, imagination keeps them alive. It keeps them soft. It keeps them hopeful, in quiet, fragile ways. It keeps parts of them intact that reality would have shattered completely. It is the hidden place where their soul whispers, maybe one day, life will feel like this too. These people aren't delusional. They are dreamers with scars. They are realists who learn to cope through unreality. They are children who grew up too fast, adults who still carry the echo of what they never received. And in that echo, they built worlds that could hold them gently. There is a strange, aching beauty in them, an emotional depth that others often miss. They notice subtleties others overlook. They feel shifts in tone like tremors beneath the earth. They understand silence like a language. They dream in metaphors and breathe in symbols. Their imagination isn't just a refuge. It is a mirror reflecting truths reality refuses to admit. And maybe the most haunting truth is this: the people who feel safer in their imagination often have the richest inner lives. They are the artists, the thinkers, the quiet philosophers of the human condition. They see meaning where others see nothing. They find stories in the way light touches a wall. They build universes out of heartbreak. They turn longing into poetry inside their own minds. They are not lost. They are wandering through landscapes, too beautiful and too painful to be spoken aloud. But even they know, imagination cannot replace reality forever. Eventually, the mind becomes too full, and the heart begins to ache with a hunger no imagined world can satisfy. A hunger for connection, presence, touch, belonging, truth, risk, life. Fantasy soothes, but never fulfills. It comforts, but never completes. One day, they will realize that the world outside isn't trying to hurt them. It is simply unfiltered. It is messy, unpredictable, and imperfect. It won't always understand them, but it doesn't always need to. Reality doesn't demand they give up their imagination. It only asks that they return to it with open hands, instead of closed ones. Because imagination was never meant to replace reality, only to guide them through it. But until they're ready, their inner world will continue to be their shelter. Soft, quiet, forgiving, a place where they can exhale. A place where their fractures aren't judged. A place where they can love without fear, dream without limits, exist without shrinking. And maybe that's okay. Maybe imagination is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to strength. A reminder that when the world failed to hold them, they built a place that could. But still, there is something waiting for them out here. Something imperfect and unpredictable, yes, but also real. Something they won't find in the safety of their inner world. Connection, presence, touch, serendipity, chance, growth, healing, life. And one day, they may walk out of their imagination not because it stopped being safe, but because they finally became someone who could hold themselves in reality, with the same gentleness they once only found in their dreams.